All right, so get this. We're diving into AI translation today. And you sent over some stuff on building an app with this AIGNE platform. And I got to say, it's like way cooler than I thought it'd be. Building AI without like the whole coding nightmare, I'm in.
Yeah, that's what's so great about AIGNE. You basically build these AI apps just by kind of connecting different agents. It's like the AI modules, right? Each one for a specific job, almost like you're putting together like a little team of AI specialists.
Okay, I'm getting serious Lego vibes here, and I am here for it. So for us, we're tackling a translation app, right? And the stuff you sent mentioned this whole double translation thing. That sounds kind of sneaky in a good way. What's the deal with that?
So the double translation approach, it uses two agents working together. The first one is all about a really literal translation, word for word. Think of it like building a super solid foundation, right? Then the second agent comes in and they polish that translation up, makes it sound really smooth and natural in whatever, the target language.
Ah, okay. So it's like we've got like a super precise translator.
Yeah.
But maybe they're not the best writer, And then a wordsmith swoops in to make it beautiful. I like it. I bet you're dying to know how to actually build this thing, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's break it down. And, of course, our expert here is going to walk us through it.
All right, let's do it. So first agent we got to create, it's called a literal translation agent. Imagine this agent like they've translated for the New York Times or, I don't know, like super complicated technical manuals, that kind of thing.
Oh, so we're talking like top-level accuracy here.
Yeah.
No room for messing around. But how do we actually tell AIGNE how to, like, set this agent up? What kind of instructions are we giving it?
The cool thing is, with AIGNE, you literally just give instructions in plain English. So for this literal translation agent, we'd be like, accuracy is #1. Don't exaggerate, no emotional stuff, stick to the facts, the original meaning, grammar rules, punctuation, all got to be perfect, that kind of thing. Basically, this agent is all about making that really reliable word-for-word translation, which is like the base for the next step.
Gotcha. It's like we're making a blueprint before we actually build anything. No fancy language for this agent, just straight facts. But then how does the second agent actually build on that, basic translation?
That's where it gets really cool. The second agent, we call it the paraphrasing agent. It takes that kind of robotic, literal translation, and it gives it all the style and fluency, makes it sound natural.
Okay, so this was all about finesse. But what makes it different from just using like a normal paraphrasing tool or something?
The key difference is it's not JSG rewording stuff.
Yeah.
We actually give it both the original text and that literal translation. So it can cross-reference, make sure nothing gets lost, really capture the nuances.
Whoa, so it's like it's got this deeper understanding. It's not just swapping out words. It's about getting the message across. But, wow, that's seriously impressive.
It is, yeah. And having that super accurate translation first and then the nuanced paraphrasing, that's what makes the double translation work so well.
Okay, I'm with you so far. But we got to remember the user too, right? Like, how do they choose what language they want to translate to?
You got it. User experience is key. And luckily, AIGNE makes it super simple to let users give input. In this case, we'd use what's called the target language input. And that creates like a little drop-down menu in the app, super user-friendly.
So no more fiddling with settings or anything. AIGNE just handles it. Nice. This is coming together really well. So what's next? What's the next step in actually building this AI translator app?
So we've got our two amazing agents. We got a way for the user to pick their language. Now we got to put it all together and see if it actually works.
All right, the suspense is killing me. Let's test this thing out. Let's see some translation magic in action.
Okay, let's do it. In the stuff you sent, there's a really cool example translating Chinese to English. It's a kind of complex phrase, but it shows how powerful this two-agent system is. So we'll dig into that example and really see how that double translation tackles the, language challenges.
All right, I'm ready. Hit me with it. What's this Chinese phrase we're translating? And how does our app handle it all fancy-like?
All right, so the phrase is "duzi kaini." Now, I don't speak any Chinese, but apparently it means here is our knowledge base, discussion group, task board, and schedule.
Okay, so it's not like the most complicated sentence.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing the structure and the grammar are, way different from English. And that's where our double translation comes in, right?
Exactly. Remember, our literal translation agent, it goes first. It makes that super accurate, but maybe a little clunky translation. And then our paraphrasing agent comes in and smooths everything out.
So it's like making a rough draft first.
Right.
Making sure all the pieces are there, and then we polish it up.
You got it. That's a perfect way to put it. And then The paraphrasing agent comes in and does its thing. It takes that literal translation, compares it to the original Chinese, and starts refining, maybe switching the word order around, picking better synonyms, adding in any little words that are missing, just to make the final translation sound really smooth and natural in English.
So it's almost like having a human editor, right? Someone who understands both languages. And they make sure the translation isn't just accurate, but it sounds good too. Like it captures the style and the tone of the original. That's crazy.
It really is. And as you can see, the result is this translation that's both accurate and easy to understand. It nails the meaning of the Chinese, but it sounds totally natural in English.
This is like way more advanced than just using Google Translate or something.
Yeah.
It really shows how AI can like understand language and change it, almost like a person would.
Totally. And the fact that we can build this kind of app without coding anything, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. AIGNE is making this stuff accessible to like everyone. It's awesome.
It really is. And this double translation idea, this idea of like refining something in stages, it's not just for language.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're saying this approach could work in other fields too?
Definitely. Like, think about design. You might have one stage where it's all about function, making sure it works, and then another stage where you make it look good, Or in writing, you have your first draft, just getting the ideas down, and then you revise it, make it clear, and, sound better.
Totally. It's like that saying two heads are better than one, but here it's like two AI agents working together to create something awesome. This is all so cool.
Yeah, and this example, it really shows how powerful this double translation technique can be. It also shows how important it is to test and refine your, AI models.
Right, because even with a super fancy system, you can always make it better. So how would we go about like testing and refining this translation app to make sure it's working as well as it can?
Testing is like the most important thing when you're developing AI. For this app, we'd want to test it with all sorts of different text from different places, written in different styles. We'd also want to get feedback from like native speakers, to make sure the translations are not only accurate, but they sound natural and make sense in the culture.
So it's not just about being technically correct. It's about understanding how people actually use language, which is tough.
Oh, it's definitely challenging, but it's also super rewarding. Like, imagine if we could build AI that breaks down language barriers completely so anyone can talk to anyone else no matter what language they speak.
Whoa, that's kind of mind-blowing. I could already see how this tech could be used in so many places, like education, business, even international relations. The possibilities are huge.
Totally. And it's not just about, professional stuff. Imagine AI translation, helping people connect with family who speak different languages, or giving them access to information from all over the world, or just, letting them enjoy books and movies from other cultures.
So like opening up a whole new world. I'm honestly so inspired by this. It's incredible. AI translation, it's not just a tool. It's like a way to make the world better.
Couldn't agree more. And the best part is, with platforms like AIGNE, anyone can build these tools.
That's what's so exciting. We're not just talking about a cool app. We're talking about empowering people to connect and understand each other better. That's awesome.
Absolutely. And I think on that note, we've covered a lot today. We've talked about AIGNE, this double translation thing, and how AI translation can, really change the world.
It's been a wild ride. I'm super excited to see what happens with AI translation in the future.
Me too. And I hope our listeners feel the same way. This deep dive, it's been about more than just tech stuff. It's about like sparking curiosity, getting people excited about AI, and how it can connect us all.
Well said. Speaking of connections, are you ready to wrap up this deep dive?
Yeah.
And leave our listeners with something to like think about? Yeah. What's like the one thing you really want our listeners to remember from today?
Good question. I think the biggest takeaway is like AI isn't just for like tech geniuses anymore, Anyone can build cool AI apps now with platforms like AGA, even something complicated like a translation app, and you don't even need to code. It's all about giving people the tools to solve like real problems. And language barriers, those are a huge problem.
It is, yeah, it's so cool. Like anyone listening, if you've ever been even a little bit curious about AI or thought, man, I'd love to make an app someday, this is your sign. Go for it. Maybe you'll make the next big translation tool, or who knows, maybe something totally new that we haven't even thought of yet.
And if you do create something amazing, tell us about it. Share your story, because the more we share and like work together, the more cool stuff we'll see happening in the AI world.
Totally. Sharing those like aha moments. That's what it's all about. It's what keeps this whole, journey of discovery going. So on that note, we're going to sign off for today. Keep those minds curious, keep those creative sparks flying, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface here, There's so much more to explore with AI translation. What's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
That's a good one. I think the biggest thing is AI isn't just for super techie people anymore. With these platforms like AIGNE, anyone can build amazing AI apps now. You could build something as complex as a translation app. You don't even need to code.
That's pretty crazy, right?
It is. It's about empowering people to solve real-world problems and language barriers. Those are a huge problem.
Yeah.
Totally. So
Yeah.
anyone listening out there, right, if you've ever been even a little bit curious about AI or thought, man, I would love to build an app someday, this is your sign. Just go for it. Maybe you'll create the next big translation tool, or who knows, maybe you'll come up with something totally new, something we haven't even thought of yet.
Absolutely. And if you do create something amazing, we want to hear about it. Share your story, because the more we all share and collaborate, the more incredible innovations we'll see in this AI world.
I love that. Sharing those aha moments, that's what fuels everything. It keeps this whole journey of discovery going. So on that note, we're going to wrap things up for today. Keep those minds curious, keep those creative sparks flying, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.